Souse us, therefore, in the powdering tub of thy mercy,
that we may be tripes fit for the heavenly table.
Welcome, Meatsmiths. You are listening to a Meatsmith harvest,
restoring husbandry to prosperity
by the means of the traditions of our fathers.
This Farmstead Meatsmith production is made possible by you. If you like it, please consider supporting our team by going to patreon.com/Meatsmith and donating at a level you'd enjoy giving at. Your gift helps us increase the quality and quantity of all our free media education. Thank you, and happy harvesting. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Good. Good. I feel like a tripe.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, if I could just be soused in the powdering tub and deep fried and then braised, then I would feel more fit. No, I feel good. It's I had an encounter with the gaping maw of chaos in the shape of a large bovine creature yesterday. So that's why I feel a bit tripey.
Oh.
A bit small, a bit stinky.
Okay.
A bit stressed out.
I know.
Well, we'll talk about that.
Okay. Yeah, he's been calling it the T-Rex.
Yeah.
Out there.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a story we want to go into with y'all. But we wanted to mention right off the bat, we still have right now 10 tickets to sell for anyone who wants to come to a family pig class this fall. And they're in November and December. Mm-hmm. And we're lying in the middle of October right now. October 19th, we're recording this. So those dates are coming up fast. And we would love for you to come. We still have plenty of space, oddly enough, which is great. Actually, we don't usually have space this late in the year. So just variables have made that happen. But we want to have you come if you're available to come. And you could learn right before Christmas how to do a lot of processing, a lot of cooking. We're kind of doing our pig classes a little later in the year because we're starting with, we started with lamb a couple weeks ago, and then we're doing beef this week and next week, and then geese.
Right.
And I think we launch right into like 3 family pigs.
And then pigs, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is the season to kill the animals, which might be the theme of this entire podcast, is the good, the undiluted good that is killing farm animals.
It's becoming a theme of the year, actually.
It kind of is.
We talked about it last time.
Yeah, it's so good to kill them. I'm still searching for a negative. And I can't.
Death.
I can't find one.
Death always hurts.
It does, but it hurts so much more if you tarry, if you wait.
That's
for
true.
livestock.
Yeah.
If you just get it done, it's just a good on so many levels. But this is the time of year to harvest, or we're getting to the time of year to harvest animals. And it's so fun, and I hope to do this in the family pig classes coming up, it's preparation for the Feast of Christmas, which is our solemn duty to celebrate for 12 days. And and it is to the degree that, it might even be venial to not be joyful on Christmas.
Yeah, there have
worse.
been people writing about that.
Yes, and one great aid to that, to Christmas joy, is Christmas sausage and ham and boar's head. And we will have slaughtered beef recently, so we should be all set to go with all of our Christmas fare, with plum puddings, because we should have a ton of suet. I even found some extra suet in the freezer. Because we do need buckets.
Yeah, I need that. We might have to fight over it.
Yeah, we do need buckets of suet for plum puddings and mincemeat pie.
Mincemeat pies, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, actually, I just realized something. Plum puddings are kind of like bird feed. It's like a bunch of, instead of seeds, I guess it's fruits.
Okay.
All mushed together in a flour suet mixture.
Yeah.
And then boiled.
Yeah.
And so strangely resembling birds. The way that people feed, birds in their backyard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, there are cool recipes for Christmas fare, particularly with the pig. And we'll get to dive into that for the family pig. There's Christmas sausage. They, in addition to candles on the Christmas tree, actual candles, they would hang sausages in France.
Yes, that's right.
Red sausages, and sometimes with like gold bands around them.
No, that's right.
Because it's festive and beautiful. And you make them red with their seasoning, some paprika, some peppers, and it's a Christmas sausage strewn upon the Christmas tree. Yeah. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
So we'll be definitely making some Christmas sausage with our old spots that we're harvesting. We're actually, 2 of the pigs, the first pig class is going to be 2 lard pigs. It's going to be 2 Mangalitzas. I've got 2 Mangalitza gilts that their time has come, and they'll be for the first family pig class. And so that will be fun.
There's 2 spots left for that one.
Yeah.
If you just want to see a Mangalitza die.
Yeah, and that's the first. That's the first. Oh, whoops! I'm kicking things. That's the first family pig class. Is the Mangalitzas this year or this fall, and that'll be great. They're on benevolent confinement on deep bedding, and they. I hope to get them buckets of acorns. The children are pretty good at collecting. Or at least they were last year, collecting 5-gallon buckets of acorns and just throwing them to the pigs. And they do devour them. I have even found my larger pigs, the boar and the sow, who are rationed. So they're not stuffed to the rafters every day. They only get, between the 2 of them, almost 5 pounds of feed in the morning and then 5 pounds in the evening to keep them lean and fertile. Because if they get too fat or huge, on both accounts, male or female, it can be difficulty conceiving and farrowing. So you keep them small, but that means they're kind of snacky all the time.
Oh, right.
They want snacks. And a pig's determination to get through, difficult skins and to obtain food that's hard to get is in direct proportion to how hungry it is. If a pig is full, he doesn't work. This is the thing with all creatures. They are super efficient. They are absolutely not going to work for their food if they don't have to. But if they're a little snacky, then even the boar and the sow, they will crunch right through a ripe hickory nut, which is like a rock. It's unbelievable how thick the shell is to a hickory nut. And there's so little, meat in the nut. It's absolutely delicious meat if you can get to it. But no problem. They just crunch them like they're chips or something. Wow. It's amazing. But we'll do those Mangalitzas. We'll have lots of lard. And one of my favorite things to do for the Mangalitza in particular, we do it with all the pigs, honestly, but there is something unique about the Mangalitza's fat. It is so tender, such that you can just slice it thin and eat it raw, which you can't do with all pig fat. But the unique thing about Mangalitza and pigs with that more unsaturated fat profile is that the fat melts in your mouth. It is not there. It's not chewy at all. It's actually tender and it melts away. Whereas the old spot fat, also plenitudinous and beautiful and white and delicious, but it has a little more collagen laced in it, and it seems it's a little more harder, so it's great for sausage. It requires higher temperatures to melt it. And you can eat it raw, but it's a little chewy. You're chewing the fat with the old spot. But Mangalitza just melts away. Yeah. It's very delicious. So
lardo.
Yeah, we might have to for these family pig classes in anticipation of of Christmas roast a boar's head. But we also need to save a boar's head for our Christmas feast.
I know.
And we won't require it, but we might also have to sing the boar's head carol at the family pig class.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But it'll be fun, especially because it is the season to kill pigs. We're coming into it. This is the traditional season when the larder is filled, because there's going to be a refrigerator outside very soon. Yeah. It'll be great. I actually have prosciuttos in the walk-in that I think I started in September.
This year?
Yeah, and they're still sort of on the salt. Most of the salt is dissolved, but they're still just sitting there because I kind of just waiting until the proper hanging time.
Oh.
And it's this refrigeration that allows us to be unseasonable in our curing. And so if you're going to slaughter a pig in July, sometimes I just leave it in the walk-in on the salt and rinse it, dry it, and hang it right about now, as we're coming into the cooler times. And there are less flies about.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Well, we're excited to have the classes. I hope that we can have a few more of you sign up and fill out the classes. The camaraderie that we have at these classes, too, is just unparalleled. Great people come. So if it's been on your bucket list for a while, please consider making it happen for Christmas. And yeah, I would love to have you. So that's it for the announcements. I think we should just launch right into this epic Longhorn escapade that we've had. It's been interesting from my perspective.
Oh, what has been your perspective?
Well, because I don't know all the variables. Sometimes you come in and you're a little quiet and I don't know like what's going on, but then it comes out like the next stage in the drama or saga, and I didn't know because we're trying something that we've never done before, which is having a huge animal, an animal that's already huge, like you said last night, but then it's even huger with horns.
Yes.
On a teeny tiny property like ours.
Yeah.
I mean, 10 acres is not a lot. And we're moving these animals like we move sheep. But it's just a different animal. Yeah. So anyway, I don't see all that goes on, but then you tell me like something that happened, I'm like, holy cow. So
if only he were fully.
If only.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's you're handling it very well, but
and so much of it too is I'm sorry that I come in quiet sometimes. It is it's sometimes it's more abstract. It's not that he has done anything wrong.
Yeah.
It's just that I can see it in his eyes. And there is I can see it. He stresses me out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's this, which is interesting because of what a farm is, what a homestead is, ideally, hopefully, is an ordered thing. You want the tranquility of order to reign. And an order is achieved in many ways, The primary way that is even inscribed in the nature of the animals is in their own hierarchy. They have an order. And we can cooperate with their order in their management. Another way is fences. Fences provide lots of order. Yes. And it's good. And so when an animal exploits his hierarchical dominance to threaten your fences or suggest such a thing, order tends, my grip on order tends to just, it feels like it's slipping from my hands. And so far, he's actually been fine, and I have stopped moving them because I don't really trust him. And he also, this is the thing, it's contrary to his nature to be on 7 acres of pasture. Yeah, that's like 1 day's paddock for him. That's what he's used to.
Right.
Because he is a gorgeous animal.
Yeah. And I can't wait till he's gone.
But he's beautiful, and he is, he's been raised south of us so beautifully, rotation on 100 acres with his family, with a bunch of other enormous, beautiful animals. And I feel like what the Longhorn does is it survives in unbounded horizon pastures. Like that's the size of pasture is continental, because that's literally how the Longhorns did. They're brought from Spain, and then when they were brought, there were no fences. They were just let out, and so the cow slaughter was literally go hunt the cattle, and they survived for a couple centuries just on their own. No management. There's no hay. There's no grain. There's no alfalfa. There's no fences. There's no planned breeding. There's just these herds of Spanish cattle surviving, defeating predators, wolves and everything else, and bears, and thriving. And so that's his nature. And so we're being a bit unfair when I put him in a small paddock and try to move him, because he doesn't get it.
No.
He doesn't even graze. It's really interesting how inscribed, like, there's something about, I don't know, the distance, the ability to browse. It's very deer-like. Deer travel long ways, nibbling here and there for long distances. And goats are kind of similar in that way. And I feel like that's how he is. Like, he needs to be able to see this buffet that has got everything he needs, that's big, for him even to think about putting his enormous head down and eating the grass.
Yeah.
But when his paddock is small, he can't. He doesn't even get it.
No.
And so I have basically fed him all of my winter hay at this point, because he will eat hay.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he sees some of that. He's seen some of that in the winter. So he gets that.
The boar's head in hand bear I, bedecked with bays and rosemary.
How many people do you know who are building their home culture around seasonal harvest and feasting? Or that are hunting as you are for self-sufficiency and back-to-the-land values? Or that share your artist's passion for human-scale meatcraft? At FarmsteadMeatsmith.com, we've created a community of hundreds of omnivores from around the world with these shared goals, and 2 major places for them to learn from and inspire one another. First, we have our semi-annual hands-on educational event, The Family Pig, here at our Heartland homestead in Oklahoma. Come meet Brandon, get your elbows greasy, and over the course of 3 days, kill, cut, cure, and cook 2 pigs completely. You'll rub those greasy elbows with other meatsmiths from around the country, sharing meals and conversations to inspire you for years to come. Secondly, for more remote learning, over at FarmsteadMeatsmith.com, we host a purely digital membership program with an archive of film and textual resources 5 years deep now. And both our on-site classes and online program include access to our most unique and rewarding private community Facebook page, Meatsmith Table, which is the only international network by and for homesteaders harvesting animals on a domestic scale using traditional and regional methods. We've been told that our classes are life-changing and the membership program unparalleled in quality and quantity. To get a taste of our education, search FarmsteadMeatsmith.com and our YouTube channel for our free films, conversations, and downloads. Explore how we and other meatsmiths across the globe may best come alongside you and support you in building your home around the harvest. Please head to FarmsteadMeatsmith.com today.
But man, it is a misfit, because what we have is a tiny patch. And even if it's well managed, and it is green, that's the funny thing. My paddocks are green. My grass is good right now. He doesn't even notice it. He's like, I don't know what this is. So what he does is he sprints around for a while every day. I don't know if you've ever seen a very tall 3-year-old steer with 5 foot plus tip to tip horns on his head, running. Super athletic guy. He's really athletic. And he just runs around. And fortunately, he doesn't jump fences, but
It was only like, what, 20 yards before the next fence line?
It's all very close. It's way too close for him. I mean, he bounds across his entire paddock in like 3 steps.
Right.
Even though I've given him, he's probably got over almost an acre right now.
Okay.
With 3 other steers. And
But like where he came from, his smallest paddock was 4 acres.
Right. Yeah.
And they were on a rotational grazing
That's right.
system too.
Mm-hmm.
Small, and moving every day, and or close to it. I don't know exactly, but
when needed. Every few days.
And the other thing too that has been unfair to him is that we moved him when he's full grown.
Yeah.
He's old. I mean, he's not old, but he's a mature animal. Whereas like last year we moved 3 of these Longhorns when they were like teenagers. They were much younger. It went much smoother because they're just younger and more flexible. Maybe.
Also, they're less habituated to their pattern. And so anyway, it is just come to my mind again, how precious the tranquility of order is. And how you have to get things that fit. And sometimes you don't know until you try. And
right. Yeah. That's the other thing that's a homesteader's lot is you just try something. And it's actually been really great in a number of ways. We're telling you the hard part right now, but it has been, that's the definition. You keep saying the tranquility of order. I just want to make sure people know that's the definition of peace by, I think, St. Augustine.
Yeah.
So it's been hard to achieve peace out here on the land.
Yeah.
At least interiorly. Nothing has actually gone wrong
I know.
yet.
He hasn't actually committed an infraction.
No.
He's just
got these massive horns.
The potentiality is there. Like, every time I walk out, his head is up.
Yeah.
And he's, like, looking at me. Or running laps.
Yeah.
Or, like, playing with the hot wire with his horns. Because they know exactly where their tips of their horns are. They know exactly how to use them.
Yeah.
Or when I feed him, he sprints at me. When I throw hay out there, he runs. And it takes a high quantity of fortitude and a bum knee to just stand there and hope that he turns. And of course, he never, he always does. He always stops. Sometimes like hard. He has to hit the brakes.
Oh my gosh.
But he is just, cows are kind of a slow twitch animal. Yeah. Slow twitch and muscle. Pigs are fast twitch. I was talking about this with Ted recently. Okay. And it's very clear. Like, you touch them and whoop, they twitch, they jump.
Yeah.
They've got this, and they sprint. They're like dwarves. They're very dangerous over short distances. But cows are slow twitch. Okay. Which means all of their reactions are delayed, especially relative to a pig. But you get a cattleman's perspective when you start. You have to. That means that there's not a very obvious sign that a flip out is about to occur, if that makes sense. Because it is delayed a minute or so until you raise more cattle and you start to see the signs. And and one of them is just head up all the time. Head up above the shoulder line. You gotta stop that.
Okay.
That's none of that. And he does that all the time. Yeah. So I'm kind of always like, dude, put your head down. There's food there. And then he puts it down, and then he picks up the hay with his horn, and he just flings it all over the place. Flings it, digs in the ground. It's like, dang. He is...
Or the nearby sheep.
Or, yes, we had to separate the sheep because he developed a habit of sheep flipping. Fortunately, no sheep were injured. He was having the time of his life. As far as I could tell.
It's like a sport.
But man, because he could get right under them if they came to the hay, or alfalfa. I've been giving them alfalfa also. He would just get under a sheep and that sheep.
I'm sorry. It's hilarious.
He got the big wether, and the wether, I couldn't tell if he was injured or just like morbidly offended for a while, for like a week. But he's fine.
Well, it put him back, didn't it, a little bit?
A little.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we harvested him for a class, but he rebounded fully before the class.
Okay.
But it, that affected him. Just being ragdolled like he was nothing. He was negative gravity. And there's also this thing with cows. It is an inertia. Because they're slow twitch.
Yeah.
Because their reactions are delayed. There's an inertia to their panic.
Mm-hmm.
If they're panicking, if they're anxious, and this inertia builds.
Yeah,
and
it's like a tidal
wave.
There's
nothing you feel very powerless. Once you see the switch, albeit slowly, the switch will slowly flip and the head is up. And now, they're walking around in circles or something. Mm-hmm. They're displaying this anxiety. It's like the RPMs are going to increase.
Yeah.
And there's no breaks. Because they're such a big animal.
Yeah.
You don't know how to, stop. So I think that's part of the cow constitution is an inertia of panic. Mm-hmm. It's hard to come down from. Mm-hmm.
It's interesting you talk about animals as slow twitch or fast twitch.
Yeah.
It's I'm a very fast twitch person, usually. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
And you're kind of more of a slow twitch person.
Right.
And that's a temperament thing that we've learned about. So I know what it's like to have something slowly amp up.
Yes.
And then it's like, I gotta walk away. There's nothing on heaven and earth that can stop this.
That's true. Yeah, what you want then would be a phlegmatic cow. You want phlegmatic livestock.
Yeah.
All the way around.
Mm. Well, in the pig world, the Gloucester Old Spots are more on that end of the spectrum.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? It's a delayed reaction and a very low grade response to every stimulation. That's a tranquil pig and a tranquil cow. I would say. And it's, not for nothing. I think, a lot of the fast twitchiness, the more choleric cows, they probably, do better on a range where they have to be more adept, and their senses have to be more acute to just find forage to defend their calves. So there is a management system where I can imagine that kind of thing would be beneficial. But on a tiny family farm, I am totally, removing all of the hurdles, all of the challenges. So the animal does not need to express any irascibility. None. They do not have to strive to fulfill any of their natural appetites. So they shouldn't. They can just be totally concupiscible.
Yeah, exactly.
They could just put their head down and eat because I put the food there.
Yeah.
And the water's like a few steps over. And it's all good. So and I've, predators are eliminated.
Yeah.
Usually on a family farm, especially for bovines. So you don't need irascible animals of any kind.
Yeah, and you were reading last night in a book the idea that when an animal is grazing, it's working for you. But when you are feeding that animal, you're working for him. Yeah. And that doesn't feel good to do that because the whole idea is, they're using the resource that's there, and it feels more passive. Yeah. Even though you're still working, but it's like, okay, the system is working. But when that is disrupted and you're working for the animal and it's still not happy, it's like, I'm done. Yeah. And then my own emotions get in it. Yeah. And I'm like, we're done. You're done.
Which brings us to the undiluted good that is shooting your animals. Quickly, with one quick.
Yeah, and then you actually don't...
immediate death.
You don't need to be emotional at that point because you've made your decision. It doesn't make sense to keep this animal. It's not working on your property. And so, okay, let's just shift and let's enjoy the harvest.
Yeah, and I'm not, impeccable in that regard. Even though I kill animals for a living, I have an extraneous duck right now.
Oh. And
the cost is much smaller, but the disorder is no less real.
Oh, okay.
Extraneous livestock, they gotta go.
Okay.
And it's not, it's because it is disorder. Mm-hmm. They introduce chaos. They don't have a place.
Yeah.
It's specifically, they compromise the hierarchy and amongst the animals, amongst the flocks, amongst the herds. And when you do that, then you don't have a reliable thing to work with, to cooperate with. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what a farmer does, is he is docile to the nature of the animal, to the way that the animals arrange themselves in a hierarchy, and then we can work with that order to produce meat and produce food and increase the fertility of the soil. But like this duck, he doesn't understand himself. I mean, no animal does, but you know what I mean. He has no place, which is not good. An animal without a flock, without a herd, is not a happy. He's not fulfilling his nature as well as he could. He's probably not eating as well as he could. They have this hierarchical order for very practical reasons. It works. And he is a Muscovy. He's the only Muscovy on the property.
Oh, yeah.
He's a big, fat drake. And everyone, 90% of the people that have small farms, I'm just going to claim it, have an extraneous Muscovy drake right now. But he is... and I know this because I go to a lot of farms and I see a lot of extraneous Muscovy drakes. Because here's the thing, the dimorphism between a Muscovy drake and a hen is extravagant. The drake's like twice the size. Oh. They're huge. So, and the hens fly. They can fly. So they are very good at escape, and they don't put themselves in at night. Which all means Muscovy hens are very good at dying. Being through predation mainly, or just leaving, which is less common, but sometimes they do that too. Whereas the drakes can't fly, they're big, and they just seem to be better at avoiding predation. So after all the hens are gone, you're left with your drakes, and they're huge and annoying. And they don't get along with all of the other domesticated duck breeds because they are different species. They are a rainforest, Amazonian, non-migrating, flightless, tree-roosting duck. The domesticated ones are too big to get up to tree roosts, but the hens will. And so that's totally different than a mallard descent duck, which is they herd. And they have a very strong herding instinct. Yeah. The Muscovies do not herd at all. They go in as many directions as there are ducks. And so I've always thought raising Muscovies alongside mallard descent ducks, they can interbreed, but their offspring is usually sterile. But in raising them together, I've always thought that the Muscovy is much more goose-like. He acts like a goose compared to the mallard descent ducks, which are very fast twitch. They are chatty. They talk all the time, and they're always moving together, and they have a very strong flocking instinct. Whereas the Muscovies are quiet and slow, and they seem to have a sixth sense to detect if you want to catch them, because through most of the time, if you're just going out there with feed, like you can step on them. They're just right on you. But at the moment they can sense that you want to grasp one, then they're very difficult to catch. So they're that slow twitch, slow react.
Yeah.
And this is borne out now that we have geese out there. So what our little disordered Muscovy drake does is hang out with the geese.
Oh.
He tries to, he does not. He has the capacity to go in with the other mallard descent ducks. He chooses not to. He sticks with the goose flock. He really identifies with them more. It's interesting because that is more of his slow twitch, melancholic, phlegmatic nature. It correlates better with geese. And so that's who he hangs out with. He even tries to breed them. He does not try to breed the mallard descent ducks.
The actual ducks.
He tries to, even the geese, they're way bigger than him.
Yeah.
They don't really know what to make of him either. And so it's just interesting to see that without a flock, an animal will seek it. And if it's not of his own kind, it's a frustration. It doesn't work. There's discord there. And so he makes it a challenge to put the geese in every night, and then he harasses them all night, almost all night, trying to mount them and stuff. And
so
which is a disorder.
Can we just have one of the boys take care of him?
We should. Yeah, it needs to happen. He's big, he's beautiful. He'll have great breasts, and with just pan-series breasts. Well, I think the challenge is the prospect of harvesting even one large Muscovy drake. That's like half a meal for our family.
It's hard to justify the work to do that.
But it needs to happen just for the tranquility of order.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't quite fit.
Yeah. That's a bummer. Yeah.
But all of that to say, the harvesting of animals, I'm trying to figure this out because it does seem like it is never a bad time to harvest an animal. I'm still trying to...
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say, I mean, if it's about the order, we can just kill it and throw it in the compost pile too.
Yeah.
Right? Or does it feel like, we're not extracting the meat and making bone broth out of the carcass maybe, or...
That's a good point.
This conversation will be continued in a forthcoming Part 2 episode. Thanks for listening, and peace be with you.